Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. I am here with part 2 of the Sandoval interview heard around the world. So as we know, Tom Sandoval sat down with Howie Mandel today to discuss the affair for the first time since the news broke. And in case you missed my part 1 video, go catch it on my channel. We discussed his relationship with Ariana and basically the demise of them as we know it. But now I am going to get into all things Raquel/Rachel. How did the affair start? Where does their relationship stand now? Tom mentioned it all. But first, before I dive in, subscribe so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news and Sandoval updates to come. So, of course, we know that Tom talked about how his relationship with Ariana kind of went downhill, and he also shares how the affair with Raquel began. There have been a lot of rumors. We've heard about threesomes. We're all wondering the timeline of this affair, and he opens up about all of it. So basically, he kind of just says, it just happened. He shares that he's always thought Raquel was such a cool human and he loved hanging out with her. So it kind of doesn't come as a surprise that they started a relationship. He says that Raquel came along when he was in a very dark place in his life. And I think that he's talking about his relationship with Ariana. They weren't close. Everything was kind of falling apart. They weren't having sex, which is a lame excuse. So he was kind of seeking that connection.
I was in such a place just yearning for like a connection.
He was really seeking intimacy. And I think Raquel filled that void for him. Basically, like during his relationship, he had built up resentment for Ariana.
There started to build resentment in the relationship.
And basically, he says his confidence was zapped. He didn't have any mojo left.
I had no mojo, no game anymore.
Which you don't need when you're in a fucking relationship, Tom. You're supposed to be devoted to your partner. And so he goes on to talk further about Raquel. And the way he describes her is honestly makes me sick. He says
she's so kind, she's like smart, she's witty, she's fun, she's hot. She's down for it. Yeah, she's beautiful. And I was like,
is that wrong?
And then he kind of goes into how the Schwartz and Raquel kiss overlapped with his affair with Raquel. He says that kind of before all of this, when Schwartz was single and so was Raquel, he was good friends with Raquel. And so he was kind of pushing Raquel on Schwartz, saying like, dude, she's awesome. You should go after her. You should hook up with her.
I was like, dude, what do you think of Raquel, dude? She's freaking awesome. He's like, yeah, she's all right. I was like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, she's fucking amazing.
And Schwartz was kind of like, no, like, I'm not that into her. Like, probably doing what's right. Katie gave him an ultimatum to not hook up with anybody in the friend group, and now we know that Tom Sandoval was behind it all. So after Schwartz kind of was like, no, I'm not really into it, that I think kind of gave Sandoval the all clear to go for it. So in the guys' night on Vanderpump Rules that we saw a few weeks ago, Tom confirms that night, him and Raquel stayed up all night until the wee hours of the morning talking.
Like, we literally talked till like the sun came up the first night with like my friend Brett. It was like the guy, like if you watch the show, it was the guys' night at the Mondrian.
He didn't share where or when or how, but apparently I think that's when the real connection began. Then he says a few days later, they went to See You Next Tuesday at SUR, and they both were coming home to Tom Sandoval's house and somehow kissed. He says that they were locked out of the house. Maybe Ariana was somewhere else or on her way back, or I don't know. But he says that they basically went into the backyard to wait it out, and they were just having this conversation, and it got intimate.
It was like magnetic. Like, we were talking, moving like closer, like just like as we were talking, like as time went on, it's like we would just start talking closer and closer. And then all of a sudden it's just like we're like hissing.
He does admit that Raquel is like a drug to him. He says, while their relationship and connection is healthy, the environment that it created was not. And basically he became obsessed with trying to see her.
Time was always fleeting. Every time we were around each other, it felt like it could be the last time we see each other. And it just made us both like obsessive over like trying to see each other.
That he would see her any chance he got. Again, he was like FaceTiming with her even when Ariana was home. It's kind of like Schwartz said, he was becoming it was like an open secret. It's like he wasn't even trying to hide it anymore.
I mean, Tom kind of got flagrant, you know? He was brazen.
And so he also answered the question, when did Schwartz find out? So when Schwartz and Raquel kissed in Mexico at Scheana's wedding, Schwartz did not know about this affair.
When that went down in Cancun, Schwartz didn't know about that.
However, Raquel and Sandoval had already kissed. So, Raquel, what the hell are you doing? Hooking up with both Toms? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. When he saw them kiss, though, was Sandoval jealous? That is a totally fair question. And he says, not really. He said he felt a little jealousy, but he was proud of them.
I was a little jealous, like a little bit, but like I was not questioning like our connection, and I was more proud of them
for sticking up to Katie and Christina Kelly and Lala, who were like so mad that Tom and Raquel were hanging out but hadn't even done anything or weren't even together. So I don't know, Tom. I don't think that's a good excuse. So even though I guess they made out in Mexico, and as we've seen in previews, I think they even make out a few more times. I guess Schwartz didn't want to continue a relationship with Raquel. And obviously Sandoval didn't want that to happen either. So shortly after this Mexico trip, or maybe while they were even in Mexico, Sandoval told Schwartz. So that is August, and that lines up with what Schwartz told us on Watch What Happens Live. So that is how the affair began, but that is not all the tea that Tom spilled in the interview. He also shares what the status of him and Raquel's relationship is right now, which is something all of us want to know. So as I reported last week, we saw Raquel going off to the airport. Tom dropped her off at LAX, and that kind of made it seem like they were taking some time apart. So Tom Sandoval today did confirm that that is what's happening. He basically says that at the moment, they're really good friends, not even friends with benefits, because obviously she's out of town. So he says they're not putting any label on it.
We're just, we're really good friends. We're not putting any label on it. We're also just kind of taking like a break.
And that basically they're on a break, which I think is healthy for him and her. I think that they need to look inward, look in the mirror, and realize what they've done. I don't think that anything he said about his relationship with Ariana, which I covered in our part 1 recap, is a good excuse. And to see that and hear him say that, I think should be a turnoff for Raquel, and definitely puts a bad light on him and Raquel's relationship, even worse than it already was. So what is their future? I don't know, but as Tom Schwartz says, we'll see if love prevails.
What? We'll see if love prevails. We'll see. Are you surprised?
I don't know. It's going to be a no for me, dog. I don't think they're going to last. Tom says that he is probably going to return to the show because ratings are so high, and he probably wants to promote his band and his cosmetic line that I didn't even know he had. So it sounds like we will be seeing this relationship play out next season on Vanderpump Rules, unfortunately. And will they make it? I don't know. Let me know what you think about his Raquel revelations in the comments below. And if you missed it, check out part 1 where we discuss the status of him and Ariana's relationship and how it all went down. We'll see you guys next time.